Hey everyone, today's Writer's Spotlight, we have the one and only Miss Rose Grant with us. Hi Rose.
Hello, Samantha.
So you are just coming off of a big weekend at Soldier Hollow Mountain Bike Festival. Congratulations. I heard you took
Thank
the
you.
top spot in the short track.
Yeah, I did. Yep, I won the short track, and yesterday in the cross country was second to Alexis Scarta. So it was good. It was fun.
Yeah. Congratulations on that. Did you stay out of the rain? I heard it started storming later into the evening.
Yeah, it sprinkled a tiny bit during our race, but it never really did anything. Yeah, and the men got lucky too. So yeah, not a lot of precipitation during the race, and yeah, the weather was actually so nice. Nice first real warm race weather for me, and welcoming after a long winter in Montana. So yeah, just savoring those 70 and 80-degree days.
Absolutely. And with the new race season comes a new team for you as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty exciting. I've had the opportunity to be racing for the Juliana SRAM Pro Team with Evelyn, and as my teammate. And it is like change is always hard. Like, yeah, Sam's Pivot had been my home for 5 years, and I got pretty comfortable there. And like all good things come to an end, and usually growth comes through change too. And so this opportunity has been really fantastic so far, and I'm working with just incredible people within the company, and yeah, the support is really great. And yeah, so it's been good for me. I'm really thankful.
I love that growth comes with change. And what does the season hold for you then? And what are you looking to accomplish this year?
Yeah, it looks like we'll have plenty of events on the calendar that are going to be happening. And so I have a mix of mountain bike and gravel racing. And so, yeah, with Epic Rides not happening, I've been able to fill in my calendar with a fair bit of, yeah, just still plenty of races. I have a bit of a break the rest of May and June, just Missoula Pro XCT, and that's close to my home, so easy. And then July will be, yeah, cross country nationals and BWR San Diego, so some gravel. And yeah, I've got I'm going to do Leadville, defend my title at Leadville, and go into the Breck Epic right after that if all goes well. So yeah, just like a really solid mix of gravel and mountain bike. So yeah, it's looking good and plenty busy.
So let's go back to September of last year, the Pikes Peak APEX. Was that your only race of 2020, or were you able to find another event here and there?
I think up until that point, it was my only race. I had done a enduro actually in Bozeman. And so that may have been my first actual race. I think there was maybe a local race I did as well. But yeah, I mean, that was the first one of, well, basically of 2020. Yeah, and then I did BWR Cedar City, like following the Apex.
So take us back to stage one. That was the time trial in Palmer Park, which you actually took the win. So a little bit different doing a time trial style. How did you approach that when you don't really have anyone to chase?
I actually really like the time trials a lot better than a short track. I am not the best tactical racer. As much as I've tried, it just is not natural for me. I just kind of battle like tactics. So I really like just having the space to ride my own race and pace myself the way I want to. And it usually like works out better for me. So yeah, and then actually, I think we were like started 30 seconds apart. So I had a couple gals in front of me that I was able to chase. So it worked out great. It's like cat and mouse is like kind of my favorite style of racing.
Well, I know that style of racing is, it's different for you, but I think a lot of people do like it because they don't like getting mixed up into that mass start. It's a little intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, short tracks are so fast and you're so close together, and there's oftentimes crashes, and I have experienced a few crashes that have left me like pretty timid, and so I try to avoid them at all costs. So I kind of tend to race short tracks on the defensive rather than the offensive, and so I think that's kind of where I don't excel as well in short tracks. And just do better in time trials. So I really like the time trial. I wouldn't be sad at all if you kept it a time trial.
I think we are. I think we are.
Yay.
But the next 3 days are completely different. We've got these big backcountry days. How do you go about approaching a day like that where you know you're going to be on the bike for around 3 hours? It's kind of like those epic ride races, but you do it back to back to back. How did that play out for you?
Yeah, I think you just ride each day the way you're feeling, based on the way you're feeling that day, not taking into account trying to save matches for tomorrow. So you kind of burn everything you have every day and hope that you recover enough to have enough matches for the next day. And you just kind of never know, because also not having had races and maybe even like efforts and training to really simulate that race specifically, plus the altitude, you just kind of like it. And my motto now is like, just let it play out, and there's really not a lot of pressure, or I try to not put unnecessary pressure on myself for a result. Like, you kind of know once you start, like, you're going to feel the way you feel, and if you feel great, you go with it, and if you don't feel good, you work with what you have, and it's going to be what it is. And just like there's so many other things that come into play aside from how your finish ends up. So that's kind of my approach, and then just like do control what I can control, and just kind of let go of what you can't, and ride a safe race, ride a smooth race, and a race that you're comfortable with. So yeah, taking some time to just be able to have maybe a little different mindset. But it's been good.
Yeah, finding those process goals over the outcome goals, and just really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you look back on the Apex, then what was one of your favorite moments of that 4 days?
Well, I mean, I think being all together at the Buffalo Lodge was really fun, and I think that over the racing is just such a special thing. The friendships and the dynamic of, it's like your family away from home, that especially after so long hadn't been really connected. So that was great, and such a fun place to have our lodging. And also, I think too, like that TT, I tend to just always kind of battle with confidence. And so, like just putting that negative voice to rest, like at the beginning of the 4 days was reassuring, and like a really confidence builder, because you don't really know how you're doing during, until you're all done. And it was a long TT. It was like, 15 minutes or close to an hour. So yeah, it was, I think, just the camaraderie, and then just like huge confidence builder.
I think that really resonates with me, myself, and then a lot of women who participate in events because, you know, if you look into some of the research, women say that having friends there with them is the number one reason that they participate in an event or in a race.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the number one for me. Yes, I love going out there to see how well can I ride my mountain bike? What technical obstacle can I conquer? But in the end, it's all about that community of everyone coming together and experiencing that, you know, as a
it
group.
is. So. It's a huge piece of it. I agree.
So
and
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that I do think that as females, we do tend to doubt ourselves easier than males. And so it's just kind of a constant like work in progress with positive self-talk and like telling yourself that you do belong here. And but it's constant. I don't know many women that just show up, you know, that are ready to just, I'm going to win today. So it's normal.
Absolutely. Being a pro racer is like having a full-time job. And I don't think many people understand everything that goes into the training and the media and the sponsorships and representing your brand and just getting out into the community. But then you have a 7-year-old daughter. She's 7, right?
Yeah. She turned 8 in March.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah.
And so can you tell us about how your life as a racer changed when you had your daughter and what your progression looked like getting back on the bike and getting back into racing after she was born?
Yeah. Well, ironically, I got into racing kind of late in life. And the year I turned pro, which I'd only really raced like a year before that, but I also got pregnant. And so like I started parenthood and a professional racing career simultaneously. And I knew nothing else really. I had like really limited training prior to getting pregnant. And so I just kind of continued the best I could with training, you know, with what my body would allow. And then after Layla was born, I continued training and then resumed racing as soon as I was able to. But I really didn't race much in 2012. I think I maybe got like a pro race, 1 or 2 pro races under my belt before I quit racing. And then after Layla was born, it was pretty limited. I really had to pick and choose pretty sparingly what I was able to attend, knowing that Layla had to be with me. And at that point too, like being new in the sport, I had like really no support. And so like I would go to nationals and my in-laws from Maine would drive down. It was in Pennsylvania when Layla was a newborn, and we camped and I raced, and you know, they helped me with her. And so it was really different probably than like what would normally be, but maybe it was good that I didn't know like what it was like to be fully supported and kind of have it easier. So yeah, but it got me you know, just the consistency and being able to produce some results even under those circumstances just gave me enough notoriety to move up the ladder to establish support. So yeah, I think there was maybe some divine intervention involved. Like I definitely found my calling. So yeah, but I was about 30. So yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's uncommon though for women to get into this sport a little bit later in life. I was 28 when I started racing, and I was 36 when I got my pro license. So I think that women are well equipped to do this a little bit later in life, but what gets in our way then at times is societally, the women are deemed the primary caregiver in a lot of situations. And and I think there's some guilt that maybe comes with taking time to train or taking time for yourself to go race. Is that something that you've dealt with? And what is your support like?
Oh no, everything you say is like very realistic in my life. No, my husband's amazing, but he is a police officer and works shift work, and you know, like what he can offer, especially even like when I'm on the road, is pretty limited. And if it wasn't for my mom, like being willing to help when I'm gone, I couldn't do it. Like, because I think for me to travel with her, it would be easier now, but she's 8. So, you know, she still needs someone to hang out with, or, you know, just like to have someone keep an eye on her when I'm racing and training. And yeah, I don't know. I think if there can be some support for those women, those mothers, it would be kind of life changing for us. Because how many women that would want to race have kids, and you do anything for your kids and you're not going to put them in a compromised situation to race. So yeah, so you know, I'm constantly like trying to problem solve, and I've utilized a kids camp at Copper Mountain Day Camp when I raced Leadville, and Sage Melly that puts on the Cactus Cup provided a nanny for me one year so I could bring Layla, because there's race weekends where I'm supposed to be gone for 3 weeks at a time, and you know, I can't be gone from home that long from her. I mean, unless I have her with me, you know, or travel with the nanny, and then the expense is like pretty significant because you can't at that point really utilize team support. So yeah, it's a puzzle piece for sure. And you know, I feel really fortunate that as Layla is getting older, you know, that'll only get easier. And you know, in a year or two, like she probably could hang out by herself, you know, largely. But yeah, you know, and then it's not always kid friendly, you know, being around, you know, I mean, it's just the way it is, and I wouldn't expect it to be otherwise, because so many of the field is younger and don't have kids and they're not used to being around kids. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in a different place than a majority of the people that race. But there's a lot of us. I just don't think a lot of us, you know, it's just not feasible to try to do it.
Yeah, having that support system is definitely integral in making it work and being creative, like the day camp at Copper Mountain. I know I have 2 teammates that have 2 young children, and they've done similar things to be able to race different events, but it's not always an option. And so that's something that I'd love to explore more, is for more events to maybe have a childcare component as like a race add-on, right? So
yeah.
I mean, and I know there's probably promoters out there that are just shaking their heads being like, oh my God, another thing for us to do. But what
yeah, but I think, if a race promoter like put the effort into like even offering like a kids mountain bike camp during, say, like the elite women's race, or childcare for the babies, I don't know. I think there would be a lot of supportive mothers that would step up, because I just think moms are really willing to support other mothers, because we know how hard it is and we are the primary caregivers. So I think it would be worth thinking about.
Most definitely. And so I want to do just a little fun kind of lightning round with you now because listening to other podcasts and just seeing Rose Grant out in the media, we know that you're a baker. We know that you're super outdoorsy and you hunt with your husband. And there's lots of other things other than Rose Grant bike racer, right? So
yeah, I like
just a little fun get to know you here. And we'll start easy with some bike related stuff. So in relation to the Apex, are you a hardtail or are you a full suspension type of racer?
hardtail for the Apex.
How about
That's
tire
full
width?
suspension when it calls for it. But yeah, for the Apex, the hardtail is great.
Hardtail.
Yeah, for last year, I had a 2.4 Maxxis Aspen on the front and a 2.25 Aspen on the rear. But I run 2.4s, I think, all the way around this year because we'll have access to those tires.
When you have your choice, are you more of a full Lycra or more t-shirt and baggies?
Ooh, wow. Full Lycra means business and baggies means fun. So that's kind of how I differentiate the two. So they both have their place, but baggies means fun. So that means, yeah.
I like it. What is in your pocket whenever you're doing a shorter XCO race versus like an Apex stage race?
Ooh, Goo Energy Labs gels. Yeah, that's what's in my pocket.
What's your favorite
For
flavor?
fuel. Gingerade.
Ooh,
Yeah, good.
So I've heard a lot listening to podcasts about these double chocolate vegan cookies, but I want to know, what else in the baking world are you famous for?
Pretty much anything you want me to make. No. Let's see. Yeah, I usually, cookies are my go-to. I'll make like a chocolate chip, or like there's a variety of cookies that I like to make. And my husband would say my carrot cake with cream cheese frosting is probably his favorite, or a good old huckleberry pie.
I know you live in Montana, so rivers or lakes or ocean, what would you pick?
River, or actually lake. I was thinking my husband would pick a river any day, and I would pick the lake any day. So, and we have both in there. Yeah, very nice options.
What's your favorite style of mountain bike track to just ride for fun? Are you flowy, swoopy, or do you like chunky tech? What's your jam?
Flowy, smooth and flowy for fun. Yeah, I have to be in the right mood to do skill work, chunky, rough. Yeah.
And lastly here, Rose, if you could leave the mothers who are listening with just any kind of life mountain bike racing type of advice, what would you leave them with?
For mom, I would just say, like, it's really okay to pursue your goals and do things for yourself. And I deal with mom guilt like all the time. I called home last night and my daughter was in tears, and it's just a constant reminder that they know that you love them, and doing something for yourself, even though they might have a hard time with it in the moment, it's really building a lot of character and a good example for them to just be able to pursue doing those things for yourself, because, well, I think that's important, and I know I really need it.
Yeah, I think it's a great example for us as women, to be able to give the young kids, and especially the young girls, those examples of us being independent and strong, and that you can be vulnerable and you can put your heart and soul into this thing. And sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get injured, but you can always bounce back.
Yeah, there's a lot of life lessons that can be learned and also witnessed. And I've experienced that. And now that Layla's starting some of her sports of her own, she just has maybe a better understanding, just having, lived with me through the ups and downs of, what it's like to compete in races. So it's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time this morning to spend
You're
with
welcome.
us.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully we get to see you in September at this year's APEX.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Yes.
Thanks, Samantha.
Thanks, Rose. Bye-bye.
Bye.